But we're certainly not hearing it from Republicans. We're not hearing enough from Democrats, certainly, but world leaders would be best to come together to make this point. Unfortunately, they know that they are dealing with a madman. And in the same way that, by goading Trump and by highlighting his inadequacies, he is likely to seek retribution on those countries specifically. This is the worst-kept secret in the world, that world leaders are having to tread on eggshells, literally, around this guy. His insecurity and his ego is such that if you hold him to account, he will simply punish you. And that is the mark of an authoritarian.
Oil prices, did you see gasoline is now below, in many cases, in many states, below $2 a gallon, $1.98, $1.99, $1.97?
Well, my question, sir, is when the stock market spiked, you said this is the Trump effect. When the numbers weren't so good earlier this week, you said it's the Biden effect. Are you only taking ownership of the good numbers and not the bad numbers?
Firstly, gasoline is not down to $1.90 something a gallon. It just isn't. It's simply a lie. And Donald Trump, because of the way he is wired, he has never been held to account in his life. So therefore, he's been able to say anything and there's never been any pushback. Yes, I have the tallest building in Manhattan or whatever. He just says whatever he wants. And that's why when legal cases are brought towards him, he says, I am the most persecuted. If he didn't tell lies, if he didn't break the law, if he wasn't a total fraud, then there wouldn't be any legal cases against him. He thinks it's a surprise that there are no other presidents that have been treated like this. No other presidents have behaved like this. And again, this is a point that doesn't seem to be made often enough, especially to his face.
I didn't even know anything about what were you talking about. Egg prices were so high you couldn't buy eggs. They didn't have any eggs. And they said Easter is going to be a disaster. Well, we had Easter at the White House, and we had thousands of eggs, and they were down 87%.
And then to claim that the price of eggs is right down, so much so that we had enough to roll at the White House on Easter? I mean, what is he talking about? We are dealing with a child, a man-child. He's not even bothering to pretend to be presidential anymore. It's as if, I hate to put it all down to dementia because it isn't. He's always been like this. But he seems to be even less aware of how ridiculous he sounds. I suppose back in the 80s, he had maybe had a slightly better sense of how he was perceived. And so he could only lie so much before it, got into kind of dangerous territory. Now he has zero self-awareness. So he'll literally say that eggs must be down because we had enough to roll at the Easter event at the White House. Eggs are still $7, $8, and $9 for a dozen. Now, Trump has never bought eggs. This is not a subject that he really even connects with or cares about, unless, of course, you're talking about an Egg McMuffin.
When does it become the Trump economy?
It partially is right now, and I really mean this. I think the good parts are the Trump economy, and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Okay, rewind. The good parts of the economy are the Trump economy, and the bad bits are the Biden economy? Again, who does he think he's talking to? He must think that everybody is as stupid as he is. Trump took this economy in January and has literally flushed it down the toilet. Not just the US economy, but economies around the world. People are scrambling to avoid recession. Trump is one of these people that thinks that if he squints, something isn't kind of real. He can dispel reality by squinting. Maybe that's why he kind of looks like that all the time, because he's trying to see the world through Trump-tinted spectacles.
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls.
And now these analogies to do with dolls and kids' toys, firstly referring to a 12-year-old girl as a beautiful baby, I find a little bit weird. But beyond that, Trump is now starting to dictate what toys kids can play with and how many they are allowed to have. The reporter thinks that he's speaking metaphorically, talking about toys generally, or retail or products that have, been imported from China or wherever. Trump now is dictating what kind of possessions are acceptable in order to make his economy work. And that, you might have to have a few less dolls. It's just so weird. A, that he's choosing dolls to reference, but B, that he thinks that this is okay, that this is normal, because effectively he's asking people to ration. And in the consumerist capitalist country that is America, everything that Trump stands for, basically, he's now talking in terms of a kind of wartime economy. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages because of the tariff.
We don't have to waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
Yeah, we don't really need 30 dolls. I mean, we don't really need eggs. We could just use powdered eggs, or we don't need milk. We could use powdered milk, or, we don't need coffee anymore. I mean, how many coffees do you even have a day? What, you have more than 3? Well, that's just junk. It's just, you don't need that junk in you. Just go without coffee. I mean, is it 2025 or is it 1945? I mean, we're dealing with somebody who is contradicting his own view of economics, if indeed he has one at all.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers.
He's so disinterested in all this stuff. It's not as if he even has any skin in the game. He just doesn't care. He knows that he is rich enough to have 30 dolls and more, and that's all that matters. He doesn't think about people, individuals, small businesses, the people that voted for him, basically. We're starting to discover that Trump has utter contempt for anybody who is not a billionaire or somebody who runs a blue chip or kind of international company. These are the only people he cares for.
You campaigned on a promise to bring prices down on day
Well, I don't know. When you say strollers are going up, what kind of a thing? I'm saying that gasoline is going down. Gasoline is thousands of times more important than a stroller someplace.
But what do you say to Americans who say they voted for you because they want and they need relief right now?
And they're getting it.
Trump knows what gas is, but he doesn't really know what strollers are. So he sees the value of gas because he sees how much the energy companies profit from gas. It might sound crazy that we're trying to analyze insanity, but this is the president of the United States denying that strollers have any use because they're of no use to him.
Right now, what about those
even mortgage rates?
Different items I just
mortgage
mentioned.
rates are going down, despite the fact that we have a stubborn Fed.
But you said even dolls could cost a couple bucks more.
Maybe they might, but you don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4. And save a lot of money. We don't need to feed the beast.
This particular beast has been well fed.
So small businesses say they are being hurt by the Chinese tariffs, and some could be forced to shut
and
down.
And many businesses are being helped.
Are you considering tariff relief for small businesses?
Why do you always mention that, you pick up a couple of little businesses? What about the car business? They're going to make a fortune because of the tariffs.
Trump is proving time and time again that he has no interest in small or medium-sized businesses. He really only cares for these large companies that generate great profits for the people that he knows and plays golf with. And we're starting to see, not that we didn't always know, that this guy really has no connection to the very people who voted for him, the people who work regular jobs, the people who gave their last dime to support him, buying his merchandise, showing up to his rallies, and giving him the kind of worship that he so wanted. And what are they getting in return? That he really is shitting all over his base. And obviously there will always be people that are obsessed with Donald Trump, who are mentally in a coercive relationship with a narcissist, and so they just cannot break free. You know, he is kind of using up that oxygen supply. But